Development Bank has set up for 2 years already. As a cash pooling, if I'm not wrong, does it operate smoothly and reach its original goal?
Well, the new development bank was established by 5 countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And we are headquartered in Shanghai. We're only at the early stages. We are celebrating our first year. We had our annual meeting in Shanghai this week, our first annual meeting. So the governors of the bank came and the directors, and we had important discussions. A lot has happened in this first year. We are building a green bank.
Yes.
A bank that is green on the lending side and also on the funding side. For example, all the 5 projects that we initially approved in this first year, all of them are in renewable energy: wind, solar, hydroelectric power. And on the funding side, we just issued this week our first bond in renminbi. It is also a green bond, meaning that the proceeds of this bond will go into green projects, and we will establish, of course, an independent third-party verification system to ensure that the proceeds are used only for green projects. So we can say that we are a green bank in our own DNA, because we are one of the few, perhaps the only multilateral development bank that has green sustainability inscribed in its articles of agreement. So we're green from the start.
It's very interesting. The ideology is very interesting, but I know the reason why you identify green energy and energy-related infrastructure as your top strategic priority.
Well, we intend to be a truly 21st century bank and a global bank. And one of the global challenges in the 21st century is the environment issue. We need to work together to tackle this problem. So I think if we focus, we will do other projects, traditional infrastructure as well. We will retain flexibility for that. But if we focus our energies, our efforts in building capacity to deal with environment-related issues and social issues, I think we will be better connected to the future and better connected to the new generations, because this is a long-term project. This is a bank that's starting now, and we intend it to become an important major development bank in the future. When people like me are no longer here, the younger generations will have to take this project ahead, so we want to connect with these younger generations in the future.
So the main member countries are five country BRICS. And then, according to my understanding on the website and news, there are also some other countries get involved in this bank projects. So, what's the role of China is playing in this whole bank's projects and systems?
China's playing a crucial role because it's one of the 5 founding members, and headquarters are in China, in Shanghai. We have been getting great support from the Shanghai government, from the Ministry of Finance, from the Central Bank of China, PBOC. For example, our first bond issued in renminbi, as I mentioned, was with great support from the Chinese authorities. So China is playing a critical role. The 5 founding members each have the equal stake in the bank, 20% of capital and 20% of voting power. So in that respect, we are different from many other banks which are led by one major country. So for example, in Washington, the World Bank and in the IMF, the United States has veto power over many decisions. In our case, no country has veto power. We all have to decide on a simple majority basis or on a qualified majority. Unanimity is not required for any decision. Because if it were, this would mean that every single member would have veto power, right?
Yes.
So we have decision rules that we seek for consensus, we seek to strive for consensus, but we have decision rules that avoid the paralyzing effect of unanimity. Now on new members, this week the Board of Governors met in Shanghai in our first annual meeting, as I mentioned, and they authorized management to go ahead and start a dialogue with prospective members from other countries. So we will be talking, our goal will be to gradually expand the membership over the next few years, bringing in, high-income countries, middle-income countries, low-income countries as well, from all regions of the world. So it will be from Latin America, from Africa, from Asia, from Europe, etc.
Talk about the number expansion. It seems that the top priorities of NDB is a little bit similar or consistent with the Belt Road initiatives. Do you think that the two will mutually share resources and get involved with each other's projects?
Yes, I think this will be an important collaboration for us with Silk Road Fund. We haven't yet worked on it in detail, but we've been talking to them. I will visit them in Beijing. I just talked to one of their representatives here. Yes, to see the possibilities of co-financing and joint action. So definitely we have a lot of common ground with that, with the joint Silk Road Fund initiative.
I heard from my research, America during the 2008 economic crisis, the BRICS were founded to be regarded as the new prosperous hope for the boost the economy. And now even the 5 countries, the economy of America is a little bit like boosting. Now the 5 countries seems get a little bit sluggish economic growth. So I used to regard this BRICS as the major economic growth engine, or you want to be expanding the members for the whole global economic concern?
Let me take a distinction. One thing is the BRICS formation, which is a political formation that goes to the highest level, including state leaders, which is composed of the 5 countries. The bank is a creation of the BRICS, but it's when we expand membership to the bank, this does not mean that the countries coming into the bank will be joining the BRICS formation. We can have countries from Latin America, from advanced countries, countries from Africa coming into the bank. This does not mean that it will become part of the BRICS process. But to go back to the other aspect of the question, yes, the BRICS are in some difficulty. India is doing well, very well. China is still growing strongly. China has some problems, but it's still just going stronger. Russia, South Africa, and Brazil, notably Brazil, are in recession. This doesn't alter the goals of the BRICS. It doesn't alter the goals of the bank in particular. BRICS is a long-term project. The bank, the NDB, the New Development Bank, is a long-term project. So we will not be tied to the fluctuations in the economic cycles of our countries. Of course, when our countries are booming, this gives us a boost. When our countries are in difficulties, this might hamper a little bit our image. But we need to set our sights to the long term. The long term, I think, to me, it's clear that the BRICS will be allies in the long term on everything, but on many issues, because they have a crucial point in common, the 5. They are large in terms of GDP and economy, population, and geography, especially the 4 original BRICS. And given their size, they have the capacity to act independently. Of the status quo of the major powers. And this brings them together in joining efforts to transform the international governance, which is still too much controlled by the North Atlantic powers. And this we will need to change gradually.
So your major is in the risk management. Talk about financial risk management. Not recently, for many years, America, Japan, Europe has launched QE. And this results in a monetary overflow of monetary liquidity. What's your bank's role in this situation?
Well, this overflow of liquidity, this quantitative expansion, all these measures, non-conventional, to boost the flagging recovery. These do not affect us very directly, but of course it generates a market where there's ample liquidity at low cost, which can be used to finance and promote long-term investments, like investments in infrastructure. So it's an opportunity. Of course, this might generate a lot of volatility and instability in the markets, but we will prepare our internal systems and risk management to deal with those challenges.
I just interviewed the Trade Minister of Spain last week from Shanghai, and then he mentioned that there are less space, less tools if there is a new round of economic crisis. Do you agree with this?
I agree. A lot of the instruments that were available were used aggressively, especially on the monetary front. We have even negative interest rates in negative nominal interest rates in a large part of the markets. Yeah. So this is quite unusual. Very unorthodox methods have been used, and results mixed, not always very favorable. So this is a concern, because if a new crisis were to erupt in the financial markets or elsewhere, the central banks will still have some room, but not as much as before. The fiscal authorities may have in some countries some room, but also there the space has been used in the sense that the debts, public debts of countries like the advanced countries, for example, have increased a lot since 2008. So the room to increase further is perhaps there for some countries, but certainly not as much as before.
So, do you think the G20 meeting, especially this finance minister and the central bank government meetings, will be very meaningful or useful to cope with this economic depression?
Yes, I think the G20 is the main economic forum for cooperation since 2009. And it's an important channel for the main ministers and the main central bank governors, also the leaders, to get together, straighten their ties, get to know each other better, have a dialogue. It's not only the formal sessions, it's also the informal dialogues that occur between the authorities, to keep them in close touch, because when a crisis erupts, this close touch, this close relationship is very valuable. It makes things easier when you need to act in an emergency.
Do you reach your expectation of this meeting?
Yes, this meeting has been, it's not finished yet, but it has been a very productive meeting. Our participation in the meeting is limited. We are invited only for the discussions on infrastructure investment. The Chinese presidency invites us to that. And it was a very productive session where we had the opportunity to explain what the NDB is doing and to listen to the ministers and other MTVs present about their plans and activities.
I talk a bit with the infrastructure hub CEO or director from Australia. Do you have any collaboration with him? Or?
Not yet, but we intend to start. You see, the NTD is very small now, and it's focusing on its core activities.
But it's expanding very dramatically.
Not dramatically. We're expanding at a strong base, but we don't want to overreach, and so we need to focus on our activities. So some of the existing MDBs have a feature which we want to avoid, just to undertake all sorts of wide variety of activities and sectors. We want to focus our energy, not only because we're small and starting, but even later. My point of view prevails, we will be very focused, focused on a core area of activities to be able to make a meaningful contribution.